On today's episode, I share one of the most painful lessons I ever learned in business and a way for you to never have it, never experience it, to implement the solution in under 5 minutes to probably guarantee a massive increase in your business. Because when I made this mistake and then I fixed it, it started equating to 5 to 10 times revenue, growth, relationships, and referrals in my life and in my business. And this episode is short, it's to the point, it's about 15 minutes for you to put it into practice. And I challenge you to put it into practice today. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George Show. Welcome back. So, before I get into today's episode, I have a very important announcement. If you have not noticed yet, we just opened event tickets. So, we will be doing the next Lighthouse Business Accelerator Live, i.e., let me translate that for you. The world's best event on customer journey, email marketing, and ethically building and scaling your business with ease, because we spend 3 days together, this time in Austin, Texas, going into every ounce of customer journey. And this isn't an event where you come and I tease you and then I don't give it to you. This is the event where you come and you leave the room with a customer journey. You understand how to email, how to get 80% open rates, how to get people to achieve results with your product, how to get them to pay you more, how to get them to refer your friends. And I teach you and I give you the exact framework that I use and that I've created over the last 12 years to scale these massive companies, to build multi-million-dollar companies of my own, to help take 2 companies into the billion-dollar range. And actually last week to find out that in 90 days, added $1 million to the bottom line of a company just by using customer journey. So I will be giving it to you. I will be building it with you. We will be doing it in the room, but you have to be there. So all the details for you to get your tickets, they are going to go fast. We cap the event at 75 people. That way I can keep it intimate. We know each other's names. We can work on your business and it will be capped at that. No exceptions, no breaking the rules. That's it. You need to get your ticket now. You go to mindofgeorge.com. So go to our website, mindofgeorge.com. And at the very top of the page, you'll see a video of the last event and the details. There are basic tickets, there are VIP tickets, and they are listed what the difference is. But you need to get there. You get to secure your spot. We're going to be doing it in Austin, Texas. So technically Bee Caves. And we will be partying on March 25th. 26th and 27th of 2022. And trust me, you're going to want to be there for the speakers alone. I mean, I think I'm awesome, but you already listen to my podcast, so you might hear me talk too much. I will be speaking and teaching, but I have some gems in the queue for you that are going to help you take your business to the next level. So grab your ticket. So with that being said, let's get into today's lesson. So today's lesson is about a very short and painful mistake that I made that I don't ever want to make or ever have you make again. But I want to start with some quotes. Quote number 1, competition makes us faster. Collaboration makes us better. Competition makes us faster. Collaboration makes us better. I have another one that says collaboration is multiplication. Great discoveries and improvements invariably involve the cooperation of many minds. And so, in my opinion, the only way to play a win-win game in entrepreneurship, in business, and in life is to always choose collaboration over competition. And the reason I'm telling you this and the reason I'm saying this is because over the last 2 weeks, I have seen 5 to 10 incidences between me personally, other people that I respect and know, or friends of mine that have reached out to me around the topic of intellectual property, copyright, and people ripping it off. Now, let me rewind back about 10 years. When I started in the entrepreneurial space 12 years ago, I was a food blogger. And we even had rules back then about making recipes. And they said, if you change nothing and you make a recipe as you found, you give full credit because you borrowed their recipe and made it on your own. So just give them credit. Another rule was that if you changed one ingredient, 1 to 2 ingredients, you would say that it's inspired by or modified by. So modified by is what we did with 1 to 2 ingredients. If it was 3 ingredients or more that changed, we would say inspired by. And then if it was more than that, it's a different recipe. And so it's your original recipe. And so back then, even back in 2009, 2010, we tried to play this collaborative game. And here's the thing, there's recipes galore everywhere. They're everywhere. What do I gain by not giving credit? What do I lose? Everything. Because when I give credit, it's about collaboration, it's about abundance, it's about security. It's about me being comfortable with myself to give credit to others, which increases your ability and my customers' ability to trust me because I am sharing from a place of abundance. And so now we live in a day and age where everybody is sharing inspirational quotes and memes and giving props sometimes and not giving props other times. And when we really, really think about it, when I went back in the recipe world, I was giving credit with recipes, but I remember that when I started reading and I started learning books all the time, I was really insecure. And I had this belief that if I didn't tell you it was my idea, then you wouldn't trust me, you wouldn't buy from me, and you wouldn't work with me. And the truth is that the opposite happened. When I didn't tell you it was my idea, my fear became true because when I didn't tell you it was my idea, you didn't trust me and you didn't work for me because I was being dishonest. And when I did tell you that it was somebody else's idea or I mentioned it, people looked at me like I was a greater authority because I was willing to give credit and I was willing to really understand that I will never have all the answers, that I will never be the guy that creates all the IP. And my job is to create containers or customer journeys to give you assets or tools, whether they're mine or somebody else's, that helps deliver the best possible result for you. And that can only come from collaboration or giving props or giving credit to where it is due. And so this happened the other day because I was with a private client. I was with a client, we were working in their business and we were designing a model for them in their business. And I started designing a model and I showed them visually what it looked like. And when they said that, they're like, oh, yeah, somebody else taught us this model. I'm like, oh, who taught it to you? And they said the name. And I was like, oh, do you know what it's called? And they're like, no. I'm like, it's called the Genius Model. And they're like, the Genius Model? I've never heard that before. I'm like, yes, it was invented by a man named Simon Bowen. And Simon Bowen owns the IP of this. It's his model. He teaches it. It's the best model in the world. It's incredible. He's taught all my friends everything else. It's Simon Bowen. So like, oh, we didn't know that. And so when I left my client went and added Simon Bowen online and shot him a message and said, hey, thanks for your incredible work. I'm sorry we didn't know. Our mentor, our consultant, George, told us about it. And then Simon shot me a message. Simon, somebody I know, somebody I look up to, somebody I respect, but does not know who I am. But I literally have spent the last 3 years using his model and telling every single person, this is Simon Bowen's, this is Simon Bowen's, this is his genius model, this is my interpretation of it, this is how I use it, this is how you can use it. It's Simon Bowen's, it's his, it's the model's method, it's his, it's his, it's his, it's his. And he shot me a message and he's like, George, I've been hearing your name. I just wanted to thank you for giving credit. Thank you for letting me know. And I told him that I bumped into many people that didn't know that it was his model. And I correct them and I let them know. And now for somebody that I respect and I've learned from, he shot me a message on Facebook. He might even listen to this. Simon, if you're listening to this, you're an incredible man. Keep up the great work. You're an incredible human being. But because I was willing to collaborate, because I was willing to give credit, because I was willing to cooperate, it helped me, it helped my clients, and it helped him. And it's the only way to play a win-win game. Now, there was a part of my entrepreneurial career, especially when I started marketing, that I didn't give credit at all. I did not give credit. I would give credit sometimes, but then if I couldn't remember where I learned it, I wouldn't even say, hey, it's not mine, but I learned this somewhere else and I can't remember. I would just claim it to be mine. I would do it with my wife. I would do it with my friends. I would do it with business partners. I would do it with content I read because I was so insecure, and afraid that if it wasn't my idea, that nobody would trust me, like me, know me, or pay for me. And the truth was is that because I pretended that everything was my idea and I refused to give credit, people couldn't trust me. People that I loved and liked would hear me ripping off their ideas and not giving them credit, and it would ruin our relationship. And I caused a lot of damage. And this was probably ended, the last time like 6 years ago. And it's something I work on every single day. And it's something that I take incredible amounts of pride in now, having integrity to give props and to give credit where credit is due. And I have a little bit of shame even recording this podcast, but we grow and we learn and we adjust. And I wouldn't be good at what I do or even have the ability to do what I do if it wasn't for my ability to make pivots, but to also own where I am and to own the journey that I've taken. And so now I go out of my way every single day to give credit. When I hear something, I give credit to the person. If I'm going to share it, I write down who it came from and why it came from there and why I think it's incredible. And I even do this for some people that I don't talk to, that I'm not friends with, that I might not naturally agree with, but they say something or they do something, and I feel like it deserves the credit. And it's something I pride myself on right now. And so when we think about this concept, it applies to our customers, it applies to our team members, it applies to our relationships, it applies to our friends. I walk into corporations all day, I walk into companies all day, and I do consulting, and I see everything behind the scenes. And I watch where I'll see bosses take credit for employees' work. I'll watch where employees will take credit for bosses' work. And it always leads to one thing: really shitty results, really crappy energy, and never a desirable outcome. But when you truly embody this and you realize that your gift and your ability to build others up while also being the person that makes the reference is the greatest thing that you can do, it's a guaranteed win-win game. And now I get messages and phone calls and friends. And actually, if my dear friend Johnny is listening to this, we were at dinner with my wife for her birthday, and they were joking about how I know 100,000 people and I know everybody of everybody and everybody. And Johnny gave me some incredible feedback. And he said, "Hey, man, I just want you to know, as a man, from a man to a man, you're absolutely incredible because you have introduced me to so many people and vice versa. But every time that you do, you acknowledge both of us and you give both of us value. And then when we leave, we always think about you and we thank you." And it's something I cried about when I got this feedback because it was something I was incredibly proud of. It represented all the work that I've done, the level of integrity that I carry. But I also got to see in hindsight how I am guaranteed to win every game that I play as long as I make it about everybody else. As long as I make your ideas yours and I give you credit and I build you up. As long as when I reference a quote and I know that quote is from a book, that I give credit to the book. When I teach a concept, I tell where that concept is coming from. When I have a marketing idea, I tell them that I've seen somebody else do it, but here's how we can apply it. And I go out of my way to be compensatory, to give credit to the ideas that I share. I also go out of my way when I'm working with staffs or employees or CEOs to give credit to them when it's their idea. I'll go 7 months later and I'll be standing on stage and I'll give an example of something that worked and I will tell you who did it and who built it. And I was just a small part of that wheel. And what I have found is that it creates this tidal wave that makes me unstoppable. It is an unstoppable tidal wave because the only thing that can come out of this is positivity. And when we take this lesson and we apply it everywhere, when we apply it to our employees, when we apply it to our staff, when we apply it to our ideas, when we apply it to our social media posts, when we download something to reshare it, when we share a quote from something that inspired us, when we go out of our way to give credit to where it's due and to go the extra mile to make sure that we give credit to where it's due, all it does is elevate us. It elevates our presence, it elevates our authority, it elevates our likability, it elevates our trustability. It makes people feel safe because if we are willing to share other people's information and give credit, it speaks to our ability to stand in that and not have to think that everything's our idea or to have all the answers. And it makes us the best experts in the world because rather than people coming to you to have an answer, people always come to you because you have some answers, you have some resources, you have some places to put people, but they always have somewhere to go after being in your ecosystem. They feel better, they feel happy, they feel grounded, they feel supported, they feel seen, and they feel acknowledged, which in turn gets them to talk about you more and share more and be in your world even more because you have a deep, solid relationship founded on integrity. And so I want you to think about where in your business have you been struggling to create content? But you can go take some other content that you've seen that's inspired you, and rather than try to make it your own, post about it and give credit and then help your people execute that content. So I'll give you some examples. I will tell you who I reference more than anybody. Mike Michalowicz. He wrote the book Get Different, Fix This Next, Pumpkin Plan, Profit First, and Clockwork. Jonah Berger, I recommend Contagious and The Catalyst like there's no tomorrow. Simon Bowen for the Genius Model. James Clear for Atomic Habits. Nicole LePera from The Holistic Psychologist. I probably have more that come up in my brain, but those are the ones that I say more than anything. And I get messages sometimes and they're like, oh my God, I heard about you. And I'll give you another one, which would be Bob Berg. And Bob Berg has been on the podcast, and I highly recommend you go listen to this podcast. But Bob Berg is the co author of the book, The Go Giver, which is basically my ethos for living life. And I love this book. I have bought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of copies of this book and given them out to people. And when I was moving to Montana, we were selling all of our furniture, selling my sauna, selling everything. And this amazing couple came up and they bought a lot of stuff. They just moved to the area. They were like us. They wanted my sauna, the gym equipment, everything else. And I got to talking and he asked what I did. I told him I had a podcast. I told him what I did. And he said, how are you consulting with marketing and caring about customers? And I started telling him about how I see customer journeys. And I said, yeah. And really, a lot of it's inspired by this book that I've read literally hundreds of times called The Go Giver. I literally believe that it's the only way. It's the only way to live life and to win. And he just started asking me more questions and asking me more questions. We probably talked for 30 minutes about this book, The Go Giver, and how I apply the principles into my business and into my marketing and into what I teach and in the frameworks and how I gift it to everybody. And he looks me dead in the eye and he's like, cool. Do you know who wrote that book? I said, yeah, Bob Berg. He's like, so I am the only certified trainer of that book. Bob is a dear friend of mine, and I speak for Bob and teach this to everybody. And he said, I just wanted to say thank you for reading it and giving us credit, but also implementing the work. And then this man turned out to become one of my dear friends. I still text, we still talk. And then he called Bob and said, hey, Bob, I have a guy. You need to talk to him. You need to get on his podcast. You guys need to jam. He's incredible. And then he literally called the author of the book, made an introduction, and that amazing author got to come on our podcast, this show. And we're going to do another one because of my willingness to stand in my power and not my insecurity to make a difference in people's lives and to give credit where credit is due. And so I believe it's the only way to win. I believe it's the only way to succeed. And I believe all of us should practice whenever possible, utilizing every resource around us, other people's ideas, their IP, their communities, their videos, and be the people that help utilize those to give tools to our customers or to our clients and give credit everywhere. And go to your client, be like, hey, listen, I think you should do breath work. And yes, I could teach you, but I am nowhere near as good as Stefano Stefandos or Samson from Samson Strength on Instagram. And so here's one of their videos. They're absolutely incredible. I actually learned one of my breathing techniques from them, and I want you to go to their class or watch their video and let me know how it goes. And when I think like that and when I live like that, the results in my life are abundant, they're easy, they're clear, and they elevate so fast. It feels like it's magic. And it really comes down to living with integrity and understanding that collaboration will always beat competition. And that is the best way to live. And so I wanted to share that today on this beautiful Monday episode. I wanted to talk about that because it's been coming up in my area. And one caveat to this, not one caveat, one side note. I did get asked the other day, what do I do when I see people ripping my stuff off? And it's really, really funny because the other day I saw somebody rip my stuff off and they had a profile that matched mine. And it wasn't a spam account, it was a real person. They were taking my quotes and reposting them and a lot of stuff. And I looked at it and I was like, I have two choices. I can be upset or I can understand the human here. And so I actually reached out, I sent them a message, and I thanked them. I thanked them wholeheartedly for believing in my message and hearing it and sharing it and being so open and willing to share it. And they came back and thanked me. They're like, oh, it's incredible. It's amazing. And I said, hey, I was like, I do have to say this. I was like, it kind of makes me feel a little icky that you're not giving me credit, that you're using my phrases. And really, ultimately, it's up to you. But I think that I could best support you if we did it. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't know. I'll do this, I'll change this. And we ended up talking for a while and they're absolutely incredible. And so I think we always get to take a look at how we show up. We get to take a look at how we play, and we get to take a look at how we respond to those around us that play differently and make a choice on how to lead that to a different result, how to lead our teams to where everybody gets credit, from the person who's worked there for a day to the person who's been there for 26 years with the greatest ideas. And we work together to create the desirable output or the desirable result. So that's what I got today. I wanted to talk about this. What I would love for you to do is I would love for you to shoot me a message on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. For those of you who have, you know I read them, I listen to them, I respond to them. And I want you to just tell me one area where you're going to apply this. Where can you use this to your benefit? Where can you deepen a relationship with a colleague? Where can you give credit to somebody? Where can you help collaborate in your ecosystem to make your life, your team's life, and your customer's life better? So shoot me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is It's George Bryant. You know this. And then make sure you grab your event ticket. We only opened the tickets the other day to the previous alumni, and they get first dibs and they get access to 50% of the tickets. So there's a good chance that 35 of them will sell out by the time you're listening to this. So there will be 35 tickets left. And so go to mindofgeorge.com, look right at the top of the homepage, and that is where you will see the link to the tickets. So grab yours, get yours. I can't wait to hug you, high five. I'll be in pink shorts, pink shoes, or a pink hoodie in Austin, Texas, March 25th to 27th of 2022. So with all of that, I'm going to go let you listen to the outro. Have a beautiful day. I love you. Remember that relationships will always beat algorithms. You will either see me in the next episode or you will hear me in your earballs. But either way, goodbye.